Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The 1950s in Australia were a time of rapid change, marked by optimism and a drive to build a stronger nation after the hardships of World War II. The country was experiencing a period of remarkable growth. Agriculture in particular was thriving. Wheat fields stretched as far as the eye could see, and farmers worked tirelessly to meet the demands of a hungry world. Australian farmers produced record harvests, filling silos to bursting. The golden grain became a symbol of prosperity and hope for the future. But this abundance created a dilemma: too much wheat, not enough buyers. The world market was unpredictable, and Australia's success threatened to become its own undoing. Storage facilities overflowed, and the risk of selling more wheat was clear. It could flood the market and send prices crashing, hurting the very farmers who had worked so hard. The government faced a tough question: how to protect both the livelihoods of farmers and the stability of the national economy from the consequences of their own success. Memories of wartime shortages and rationing were still fresh in people's minds, making food security a top national priority. Leaders realized that a surplus, if managed wisely, could be transformed from a burden into a strategic asset, something to rely on in times of uncertainty or crisis. They needed a solution that was both practical and discreet, one that would safeguard the nation's food supply without drawing unwanted attention. The idea of a national food reserve began to take shape, but secrecy was essential. If word got out, it could disrupt global markets or even attract thieves. If the world knew Australia was hoarding wheat, it could lead to international tensions, speculation, or even attempts to steal the precious reserves. The government searched for a place so remote, so inhospitable, that no one would ever think to look there, a location that could keep the secret safe for years. Their eyes turned to the heart of the continent, the endless red sands and harsh beauty of the Australian desert, a place few dared to venture. The challenge was clear: make millions of tons of wheat disappear, safely and silently, without leaving a trace for the world to find. This was not just about storage. It was about national resilience, about ensuring that Australia could weather any storm, whether economic or environmental. The plan needed to protect the present and prepare for an uncertain future, balancing immediate needs with long-term security. The government began to envision a hidden reserve, a secret insurance policy buried deep in the outback, far from prying eyes. It was a bold, unprecedented move, one that would require careful planning, coordination, and absolute secrecy. The fate of Australia's wheat, and perhaps its future, would soon rest beneath the desert sands, hidden from the world. The stage was set for one of the most ambitious and secretive projects in Australian history, a plan that would test the limits of ingenuity and resolve. The solution would require not only technical skill, but also vision, secrecy, and a willingness to think far ahead, qualities that would define this extraordinary chapter in Australia's story. The story of Australia's hidden harvest was about to begin, a tale of ingenuity, risk, and the determination to safeguard a nation's future. And it all started with a problem of too much success, a surplus that would shape the destiny of a continent. The government's plan was as daring as it was secret. In the tense atmosphere of the 1940s, with global uncertainty looming, leaders knew they needed to think beyond conventional solutions. They would bury the wheat surplus deep beneath the desert, creating a hidden food reserve that no enemy or disaster could easily reach. The vast arid landscape offered the perfect cover for such an audacious scheme. Only a handful of officials and engineers knew the full scope. These select few worked tirelessly, often under the cover of darkness, to keep the operation hidden from prying eyes. The goal: ensure Australia's survival in any crisis, war, famine, or disaster. It was a plan designed to protect not just food, but the very future of the nation. Secrecy was paramount. If word got out, the project could be compromised. The stakes were high, and the consequences of exposure could be catastrophic. Workers were sworn to silence, and all documents were classified. Every precaution was taken to ensure that the operation remained invisible to the outside world. The operation was disguised as military exercises or geological surveys. Even those working nearby had no idea of the true purpose behind the activity in the desert. This was more than hiding wheat. It was a statement of national resilience. It showed a determination to endure no matter what challenges lay ahead. Leaders saw the buried grain as a future tool for diplomacy or humanitarian aid. In times of need, it could feed the nation or help others in crisis. The project was a gamble. No one had tried anything like it before. The risks were enormous, but so were the potential rewards. Would the wheat survive decades underground? The engineers believed it could, trusting in their calculations and the dry desert climate to preserve the precious grain. Convoys of trucks began secret journeys into the desert, carrying Australia's hidden harvest. Each trip was a step toward securing the nation's future. The Great Wheat Burial had begun, a silent chapter in the nation's history. Few would ever know the full story behind these quiet efforts. It was a massive risk, but one the government believed was worth taking. Their decision would shape the destiny of generations to come. Australia's future was being sealed beneath the sand, hidden away until the day it might be needed most. The Simpson Desert was chosen for its remoteness and harshness. No one would stumble upon the secret bunkers by accident. Several sites were selected, marked only on classified maps. Engineers designed underground bunkers, massive pits lined with concrete and waterproof membranes. Wheat was sealed in airtight steel containers, creating an oxygen-poor, stable environment. Transporting millions of tons of wheat was a logistical feat, disguised as military operations. Workers endured extreme heat and cold, knowing they were part of something historic. Once filled, the bunkers were sealed and buried, the desert quickly erasing all traces. The hope, the dry, stable desert would preserve the wheat for decades. Scientists predicted the conditions would keep the grain in suspended animation. For nearly 70 years, the buried harvest waited, hidden beneath the sands. The desert became both guardian and vault for Australia's secret reserve. The world moved on, unaware of the treasure sleeping below. For decades, the buried wheat was little more than a rumor, whispered among historians and desert locals alike. The story seemed too strange to be true, a secret harvest hidden beneath the sands, lost to time and memory. But then, a breakthrough. Declassified documents eventually caught the attention of researchers at the University of Sydney, sparking curiosity and debate within academic circles. Led by Dr. Alistair Finch and Dr. Brianna Casey, the team set out to investigate, assembling a group of experts from fields as diverse as archaeology, geology, and history. They scoured archives, piecing together clues from old reports, faded letters, and aerial photos, searching for any hint that could point them in the right direction. Using geological surveys and satellite imagery, they narrowed the search to a remote, windswept stretch of the Simpson Desert, one of the harshest environments on Earth. Traditional archaeology wouldn't work here. The shifting sands and extreme conditions demanded a new approach. They needed technology to see beneath the surface. Ground-penetrating radar became their key tool, allowing the team to map what lay hidden beneath meters of sand, without disturbing the fragile site. In late 2023, the team braved the harsh desert, enduring scorching heat and relentless winds, setting up their equipment and scanning for hidden structures. After weeks of painstaking searching, the radar finally revealed a clear, rectangular anomaly buried 10 meters down, something unmistakably artificial. The dimensions matched the old engineering notes perfectly, confirming that they had found what they were looking for. The legend was real, the hunt was over, but the discovery was just beginning. The team erupted in celebration, knowing they had made history. The team had found the first of Australia's secret wheat bunkers, hidden away for generations beneath the desert floor. Excitement and anticipation swept through the camp. The next step, excavation, would reveal what secrets the sands had kept for so long. The world was about to learn the truth behind the desert's secret, as news of the discovery began to spread beyond the camp. The buried harvest was about to see daylight for the first time in 70 years, promising to rewrite a forgotten chapter of history. History was about to be unearthed, and the world would never look at the desert the same way again. The excavation team returned, ready to open the desert's vault. Carefully, they uncovered the concrete roof of the bunker. Cutting through, they found the sealed steel containers, almost pristine. The air inside was dry and stale. As the first container was opened, the team gasped. Inside was a mountain of golden wheat. The grains looked freshly harvested, plump, dry, and free of mold or decay. Dr. Casey described the moment as opening a door to the past. Samples were collected for analysis. The wheat was in astonishing condition. This single bunker held thousands of tons, and records hinted at more sites. The team had proven the legend true, and the preservation a success. The desert had kept its secret perfectly. Australia's hidden harvest was real, and it had survived the test of time. The discovery was a triumph of engineering and foresight. The past had been preserved, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The golden wheat had finally returned to the light. The wheat's preservation was a scientific marvel. The underground bunkers neutralized moisture, oxygen, and temperature swings. The desert's dryness and the airtight containers created an anaerobic environment. Without oxygen, decay and pests couldn't survive. Deep burial kept temperatures stable, slowing all biological activity. The result? A natural time capsule. Lab tests showed the wheat retained its nutrition and could even sprout. The project became an accidental experiment in long-term food storage. Its success offers lessons for modern food security. Simple, low-tech methods can preserve food for generations. The desert's secret was now a blueprint for the future. News of the discovery captivated Australia. Many celebrated it as a symbol of ingenuity and foresight. But debate soon followed. Was 70-year-old wheat safe to eat? Some called the project wasteful, others saw it as visionary. Environmentalists worried about the impact of further excavations on the fragile desert. The government faced calls for careful environmental assessments. The discovery sparked a national conversation about history, science, and responsibility. What should be done with the wheat? Is it food, artifact, or environmental risk? The debate continues, reflecting Australia's values and priorities. With the first bunker excavated, the government is planning next steps. More expeditions will map and locate other burial sites with a focus on environmental care. Collaboration with indigenous leaders and conservationists is a priority. There's talk of a museum to share the story and artifacts with the public. The wheat's future is undecided. Sell it, use it, or preserve it as history. A special task force will weigh economic, scientific, and ethical factors. The discovery is a chance to connect with the past and shape the future. Australia stands at a crossroads with a unique legacy in its hands. The story of the desert wheat is far from over. The buried wheat is more than a relic, it's a lesson in ingenuity. The 1950s project showed the power of bold, creative thinking in the face of uncertainty. Today, food security faces new threats: climate change, fragile supply chains, and global instability. The story reminds us that long-term planning and simple solutions can make a difference. Sometimes working with nature is the smartest strategy. The desert wheat inspires us to think big and prepare for the future. It's a message of hope and resilience from one generation to the next. Australia's golden secret has awakened, challenging us to be bold once again.